Everyone, we're going to get started. If we can quiet down and grab some seats. And it is 6:30. Welcome to the first open meeting of the year. Again, I know most of you. Sean Besser here, President. For one of the first items on the agenda after the guest speakers are going to be electing a new executive board for 26. So we'll get to that along with a few other discussion items. I'm going to kick started with guests though, and we've obviously got some Santa Monica Police Department folks here to say hi to you. So I can recognize some you may not. You can have the floor right now. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm your new neighborhood resource officer. Very different than Brandon Avila, but I'm excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I've been here for 9 years. Prior to this, I was a background investigator for 2.5 years. So I hired police officers, civilian staff, everybody that you see out there. I'm responsible for that. So if you don't like them, don't call me. But hopefully they're doing a really good job. We hired a lot of people from different backgrounds, ages, they come from different walks of life. So hopefully you guys see that when they respond to your guys' calls, that they're empathetic and they do a good job. Prior to that, I was on patrol. It's been a little while since I've been out there. So I wanted a change of pace and I thought this would be good for me to give back to the community, hear what you guys have, what issues you guys have and how I can help you guys. So thank you.
Welcome.
We're definitely in really good hands. She's awesome. Really excited to welcome her to the team. I haven't seen you all in person in a while. Happy New Year. Hello, everybody. As far as the crime report, I have a few things I was going to go over, but I'm going to keep it fairly short as I want to get to questions and any questions you may have for our new NRO here. So we can get right into that. Given the last 30 days, we're kind of looking at the holiday season. So that time of the year, we can see a lot of the same sort of activity. So higher package thefts than you may normally see in particular areas. For the Ocean Park region, we tend to see a lot of the vehicle break-ins. That's throughout the year with tourism, on the beach areas. So all of that was pretty on par with what we tend to see. So nothing in particular stood out largely to me. There were a few break-ins into garages. Didn't see anything into a residential space, but like these detached garages or underground garages, we saw a couple of break-ins there. And that's just the reminder that even if you are in a garage, you don't want to have that false sense of security where you're keeping things in the vehicle or keeping the vehicle unlocked. But besides that, luckily we didn't see anything major. As far as the rest of the city, if you guys have any particular questions on that, we can address that. It has been overall quiet-ish sort of couple of weeks. And as you all know, we have our new chief that has been stated to the city, and his swearing in is this week. So we've been pretty busy in our office getting ready for that, as well as our office does all the exciting things. So, but yeah, with that being said, I will open it up to any questions.
What happened to the last NRO?
So we had one NRO that decided to go back to patrol for personal development. So your last NRO moved to B4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's not in the office.
It's not starting from scratch with you in a row. Officer Avila is now in charge of Montana area, but as we do always, we're all here with each other. We're handling issues with each other. So anything that's going on, she's made aware of, and Brandon is still going to have his voice and his input on everything that's going on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Great question.
He was asked.
Any questions?
Could you set our expectations for what we will see in Ocean Park with DJ as the chief? Will we see something different? Is there anything that you can share with us? Or
I was just talking to this group over here. What you can expect from DJ Lips and Cops, which means it's kind of very straightforward.
Their 23-year history. Meanwhile, the Steelers have lost 6 straight playoff games.
If you're online, please mute yourself.
Sean, could you just turn up your volume on your side, please? Thank you.
Yes.
Is she serious?
We're just gonna ask speakers to come a little closer this way, I guess.
First of all, the caller needs to not be a cartoon dog. No, he's a straight shooter, and what you ask for, you will likely get as it comes to enforcing crime and things that we're able to tackle. We are really trying to drive crime down, property crime as well as crimes against persons. In your area, crimes against persons are not a difficult thing, but the property crime is. So we're just really trying to get cops on the ground, and he has been authorized by the city manager to hire 10 over. So we're working on the 10 over. So we're trying to put more folks out there because we have NBA finals, World Cup, Super Bowl, and then concerts, and then we have the Olympics. So we're trying to get prepared for those things. So that's mostly what you can expect is just more officers enforcing what
So you can see more.
more and just faster response. And if you have something for us, we're able to shoot it up and get it back down and have a plan.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, sir.
The city manager has proposed this city realignment plan that the council has gotten behind. How will that, if at all, change with PD? What do you guys do any differently based on that?
It's the same focus that I was just mentioning. We're just trying to impact crime very differently and very effective. We're out of the vacuum where people have tried these different programs and non-incarceration, zero bail, those things. So I think that most communities, not just here in Santa Monica, but in the state of California, are kind of tired of that and haven't seen a lot of effectiveness, with the exception of our SAMO bridge, which has been very beneficial. Repeat offenders and whatnot are just not going to be tolerated to kind of terrorize the city.
Question. So a couple days ago, we had an attempted break-in at our place, and I called it in to the police, and they said somebody would call back or come out, and because I had on the camera trying to get in. Nobody ever did. I do see it in like the notebook that we log as it was logged in terms of like call in for help or support or getting something. I guess my question is like, how can we actually make it easier for citizens to report other than going down to the police department or finding an officer? Like, I have this video of somebody attempting to break in. It would be great if I could just send it in somewhere, but my options right now are just call or go in person.
You do have to have context. So your classification, I would have to look into your exact situation. I don't know if they approach your porch, they shook the doorknob, they broke, because an attempt has to meet a certain level. Mm-hmm. And so although we don't want anybody to feel unsafe in their neighborhood, that is what needs to be defined, because maybe we did something that we should have done better. And so that's what we need to look at too. But it's difficult to report something when you're not a police officer. So that's generally why we have to go out and take these reports, especially for burglaries or attempted burglaries or hot prowls. We kind of take those very seriously. So I don't know if it was something that you reviewed and you saw at a later date opposed to actively happening, because if you actively see it happening and you call in that type of thing, attempted break-in, it's a high priority call for us. So we generally come for lights or siren or just short thereof. But a lot of people are watching things on video and it's after the fact. So then we have to go and look at, and that's when the resources become a little limited. Yeah. And so I don't know if when we're done.
Let's talk after about specific things. I think there's two things here. Like, how can we actually just make it so it's easier for citizens to report? Like, it would be great if I could just text this video to
you. But you don't know how. We have to follow the Uniform Crime Code and certain things. So we can't just make it like, it's difficult to make it easy for you. Otherwise, we kind of wouldn't exist, because we have to know how to classify the crime. And then if you just send it to us, we're still going to have follow-up questions, because our society is not built for a layman's person to just report something and it be classified correctly. It just goes to statting and UCR code, and there's a lot of coding that has to be done that we have to report to the FBI and all kinds of things. And so we have to have the follow-up questions. So we do have online reporting that's available, but it's very clunky to me. has a little bit of AI in it, and it's just not as forthwith as I would like. So I'm not a huge recommender of even that, but you can do online reporting. If your call doesn't qualify, it's going to tell you have to call the police.
It's lesser crimes like a bicycle theft or something like that, but when it's threat to life, it's different. We need to make contact because there's going to be details that we need from you that you won't get from a prompt.
Yeah.
Or someone, because we don't have people available 24/7 to go back and forth with you with the questions that we would if we're available on a call with you.
Yeah, I guess
It does make that
nobody ever followed up.
So that's what we want to get to.
Yeah,
And also for yours, is it something that you just want to report and have the police know about it? Or you want it to be an actual crime report because you want something done about it for your you being a victim?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So,
Yeah.
because if it's just self-reporting, you just want us to have the video so that we're aware and have this person on our radar, it's never going to get investigated. It's just going to go in a repository. No one's ever going to see it. We need to know it's a crime so that someone can do some follow-up or long-term solutions. Like he said, reach out to us, send us the video, let us know if it's not something that you want to have claims filed against this person. You just kind of want us to be aware. Email us so that we're aware of that.
And I'm going to tell you why just a little bit deeper. And this is for everybody. I'll answer your question. When we stop people, we have to have reasonable suspicion or probable cause because we're seizing their free movement to go where they want to go. And if we have very little information when we stop this person, we might not have enough reasonable suspicion to believe they committed the crime. And so that's why we have to have follow-up questions and things and details because we're taking people's free will and it becomes very legal. And then we have risk management issues to illegal arrest, illegal detainment. And that's how police departments, especially back in the day, used to get in trouble. Oh, you look like the guy, blah, blah, blah. Well, when was this reported? Did you, because there's certain case law that requires that we have a reporting person that we can call back on certain classifications of crimes. And that's why the computer systems are not as easy to just type something in because it's hard to program the system to know all these questions for all these varying different things. So that's why it gets a little hairy and we just have to stay on the right side of the line.
So I had a question. What are some of the things that a community resource officer does? Like,
Oh, you're new here. Are you new to us?
am I neutral?
No, are you new to the OPA?
No, but I'm just wondering, like in general, what does a community resource officer do?
We do it all. So we plan events. We meet with, we liaison with you, the community. Sometimes we have to reach out to Public Works and make our Big Blue Bus or Triple R. And we make sure that all the pieces are connected because some things don't involve crime. They're actually an infrastructure piece that we need to address. So we're kind of like the caulking in the shower. Like if you don't have the caulking, the water goes everywhere. So we're there just to keep things in kind of line. That's what I like to say. You like that one?
We have time on our side. So the patrol officer that goes to the call, they just have to respond at that moment and deal with the problem in front of them. With us, we have more time to do follow-up and build long-term solutions for the problems that you guys are having. Our patrol officer just shows up, takes the call, arrests the person, or doesn't find the person and moves on with their day. So we're able to receive more information, like he said, he had video, and do some follow-up and really try to work it up to try to solve that problem. So.
You had your hand up?
Sorry, not to take away from what you were saying, but I just want to thank you guys because I've had several calls on my block, which is just going away. You guys show up fast. They take care of business. They deal with things in a perfectly civil, correct sized way. So I've just been super.
I mean, especially with our younger officers who are not able to have the experience to lean on, they need your call for service to help them formulate their reasonable suspicion of probable cause. Like you can show her and I a video, and probably everybody in this room, just because we've worked for a long time and we can articulate why that person's being stopped maybe a week later or whatnot. So we're just, it's very good to get the calls and then we timestamp it for the time that it occurred. There's just certain data we can pull. So when Helene gives you these stats, they're all video calls or self propel calls by the officer. So we just need all that stuff. And it actually quantifies if we need more police officers or less. It's because people do all kinds of crazy things with you. We have a guy doing his doctoral thesis on stuff within our department, and was going through all these sections. And I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So
Cool. Last question, I think.
Thank you so much for you guys, what are the official stance on how to address homeless? And specifically that was because I run down Main Street most mornings and pretty much every other building has someone sleeping on the street. Sometimes I see people that are aggressive and I'm sort of that over worried when I run because there's a legitimate fear that people come from including. So I'm just curious what the city's official position is on how to address those issues.
I mean, I don't know. I'm new to the city. I've only been here for 6 years, right? There's a history with Santa Monica and who Santa Monica wanted to be as it applies to homelessness. The issue that has really occurred in the last 7 years is the fentanyl and the meth mixed with the homelessness has caused a different type of grouping, right? But since we have a new city manager and a new chief, we're going to be addressing all things that apply to crime. Not going to be able to stop people just because they're homeless, but there are a lot of homeless people that are involved in blocking doorways or yelling and screaming and standing in the middle of the street or creating some type of disturbance, which is a violation of the law for the 415 PC. And so we want to address more quality of life issues such as that. We're also addressing the partnerships and what they're actually doing. They're probably going to be auditing what the partnerships are doing and how effective each group that is contracted are doing at providing the service of outreach. So that's why Samo Bridge has been very good to us because we can send them there. We can put them in a area. It's kind of a chair. It's not a bed, but I'm used to using the word bed. And there are 4 beds there, and they're trying to work to getting 8. And then we're trying to find them resources outside of the city because the city is still very limited. And most people who are unhoused are not from the city of Santa Monica. They're not from the county of Los Angeles, and some of them are not from the state of California. So it's not like people grew up here and they're unhoused and they're just here. This is an attraction because you hear from downtown LA or from Missouri, go to Santa Monica. Like this is what the community is saying. So we're trying to restructure some of that thought, some of how the outreach partners are handling each situation and actually dealing with it and just kind of changing what has been the history. And you guys, Jeff and all of folks who've been in this room way longer than me could tell me about the history of when they used to cut hair in front of the city hall. And there's been a long history of this community really trying to have a compassionate heart for the unhoused, but it's taken a part where it's got to be some type of requirement. So that's what they're working on currently, and we should see the results of that throughout the year. And towards the end of the year, we should really be able to quantify it with some numbers and whatnot.
Thank you, officers. Thanks for.
Can I just ask one follow-up question? Is there any link between the number of unhoused that we see in Tracy Park's strategy of clearing encampments? My point is, she clears them and they have nowhere to go. Those that don't get housing, and where do they go?
I think we're all both doing the same thing because Tracy's pushing them this way, we're pushing them that way. So it's the end result is more of a statewide issue. What is the state doing to say we need a realignment with the housing, and then how many people are we employing to get rid of the problem, and who is quantifying actually? How can we qualify if they're actually doing it? How many people are they housing? How many people are they getting into drug treatment, alcohol, all of those things? And that's the number, and that's what we have been not so successful. So I can't blame another district because we're all moving the people to different places, and there's no place to move where we send them.
All right. Thank you, officers. Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for everything you're doing. I also connected Halima and Andrew via email. Okay. Well,
Thank you. And whoever that little doggy was.
Next up, Santa Monica Fire Department. We've got Fire Project Coordinator Kathy Taylor here, and
EMS Captain.
Rather.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm just here to kind of give you some updates about our fire department. I brought Captain Randleman, who's the EMS1 captain, here to talk a little bit about our AO program. But today's was a humongous day in Santa Monica fire history. We brought on 42 new hires. If you want to get a little peek of our little meeting this morning, you can go to Santa Monica Fire on Instagram and check it out. But it was really, really great. We have 12 new firefighter recruits. How many AOs? 28 ambulance operators. We have a new COOPA administrator, and we also have some 2 fire code enforcement officers that started, and as well as a couple of admin staff that are going to help with all of the behind the scenes, how we pay for things, grant writing and things like that. But I want to turn it over to Captain Randleman so he can talk about how amazing our AO program is and give you some other updates.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Captain Matt Randleman. I'm on the police platoon for our department. I am in charge of our ambulance operator academy. AOs is what we call them, ambulance operators. I'm sure you guys have seen more red ambulances that say Santa Monica Fire driving around. It's new to us. We started this about 3.5, 4 months ago. We have 2 units operating right now, 7 days a week for 12 hours a day. But starting February 1st at midnight, we will no longer have McCormick Ambulance as our ambulance provider. So we'll have Santa Monica Fire Department will be transporting all of our medical patients to the hospital. So you'll be seeing a lot more ambulances, Santa Monica Fire ambulances. We just received 2 new ones last week, beautiful, nice Type 3 boxed ambulances. We received 2 more next week, and that'll get us to our goal, which is, well, it's not our goal. It's what we're doing. We have 6 ambulances during the day, 4 at night. That's our current model staffing right now. And, in the future, I can definitely see us adding more ambulances as we constantly run out right now. So it's just busy. It's busy. Hospitals are inundated right now, especially with flu season. But a lot of our ambulances hold the wall for a long time. And that's just it's a nationwide problem, but we're working through those. We just started our ambulance operator academy with 28 ambulance operators. It's the largest academy Santa Monica has ever had, probably the largest hiring of any city department at one time in all of Santa Monica. It's crazy. They'll walk in and they just keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. I'm blown away every single day. So today was day 2. It's a 7-day straight academy because we were crunched on time just with February 1 cutoff date. So we're getting them in and getting them out. We merged this 2-week academy into 7 straight days, and it's going really well so far. This is not a private company. This is a municipality fire department ambulance program, which is much better training. I was part of the private industry before this, and I can attest to the level of training they receive is superior. Professional driving training, how to speak on the radio, medical reports, you name it. We're going over it. It's a ton of work for them for 7 straight days, but it's an exciting program. You guys should feel extremely like you guys are getting the gold standard. We have always provided the gold standard with having 4 paramedics arrive on, well, I shouldn't say 4, but up to 4 paramedics on a fire engine arriving at your house. But now you're getting a Santa Monica fire engine and a Santa Monica ambulance, and it's just one package that is a phenomenal package for our citizens here. And more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Yeah.
Less of those fire trucks turning up at the same time, so they're still going to turn up.
Yeah, we're all going to turn up. So great question. The ambulance is 2 EMTs, emergency medical technician. There are no paramedics on the ambulance. The paramedics are solely on the fire engine. And so in LA County, you have to have a paramedic arrive on scene. And that's the highest level of emergency care. So you want a paramedic arriving at your house. So yes, you will get a fire engine, you will get an ambulance. Yeah.
Swapping out McCormick for city owned.
Yes.
There's going to be 6 during the day and 4 at night.
Correct.
Is that the same number as
Yes, it's the same. What we're kind of doing though with, we're in more control of our hours, obviously. But we're staggering our 12-hour day cars. So we have peak spike times that we have. Normally it's 5:30 p.m. to about 9:30 at night. It's very common for us to run out of units because they're all at the hospitals. And so we are going to go 7 to 7 and 10 to 10. And so hopefully that will help. And then, it's the first time we've done this. So there's a lot of good data that we're going to receive, and there's a lot of good changes that we can implement easily instead of hoping that a private company will do them and, not having to work through like contractual terms that were already in a contract. You get a hand in the back, sir.
There's no calls for service. Where will they rest? We saw McCormick at the beach, right? So some of us that live by the beach, like those sirens going off every 15 minutes. It's just a little, I think that'll change. So where?
Yeah, we have, so 4 of the ambulances will be at the fire stations. So they'll be they'll mimic the same schedule as the firefighters, which is 2 on, 4 off. And then with the 2 day cars, they will be out of our drill tower, which is at City Yards. And, but they're free to go to fire stations. They're free to go to the beach. They can really go anywhere.
We, just ended at the beach. So they're, while I talk about fun noise, but they're also able to respond very quickly. I've seen them do that before the police or anyone else would do a ride because they were hanging out there and that's a safe walk.
Yeah, you're 100% true. That's Station 7 on the beach has been a huge a win for the whole city with responding quickly. It's very hard to get from Fire Station 1, summertime all the way down to the beach. It's, we have absolutely saved lives because of location. So, yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the difference between paramedics and EMT?
Yeah, great question. To make it totally make sense, basically paramedics are giving advanced drugs. EMTs can't give any drugs, so we can do cardiac monitoring, we can give drugs, we can give narcotics and take you to the hospital. The EMTs are really just the most basic level. We can stop bleeding, we can do the Heimlich, they're great drivers, so the paramedics are really like the doctors in the back of the ambulance. EMT is like the assistant. Yeah, absolutely.
Does overall cost go up or down with this model?
Well, we're actually able to capture transport revenue. So it's a great question, but we've never really caught that revenue from transporting because it was all within that contract with McCormick. So we're actually capturing all of the revenue, and we're like, Kathy was saying, we're able to fund a huge significant portion of a lot of our new plans we're doing and also fund the entire ambulance operator program.
So you're saying it's either revenue positive or self-funded?
Correct. Yeah, correct. I think right now we have started a Marine division. We have the AOs. We have our advanced provider unit. We have basically funded all of these new developments with the cost, the revenue capturing we're doing with the ambulance, but it's definitely revenue positive in all of our, we've hired a lot of companies to do strategic analysis on all this. And so, yeah, it was definitely a smart move. We're only 4 months in, so it's doing very well so far. Yeah.
What about for the patient? Is it more expensive or less expensive for fire ambulance versus city ambulance?
Yeah, so it's all based on the patient's insurance. So the state of California or Medicare, Medi-Cal, they deem, and I'm no expert in billing by any means, but there's only a certain amount that Kaiser will pay for a transport. There's only a certain amount that Medicare will pay, and Medi-Cal and Blue Shield. So those are all, negotiated costs. Our billing company bills, and we get paid what has been deemed the appropriate amount. So no, it is not more expensive, but we are now in the billing game when we never have been in the billing game. So
Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for explaining it.
have one more question.
Excuse me.
What are the challenges with that?
We're just a growing city. When I say growing, we're talking about population, buildings, residential, buildings that are being put in. And so I think it's just keeping up with our increased volume of calls. We, increase our volume of calls 5 to 10% each year. And right now we're like Kathy was saying, we're adding more personnel, which is helping. And so, but we, for the past years, have never really added spots. So we're getting there. But yeah, it's just keeping up with supply and demand. There's a lot happening here, and we're just trying to keep up with it all.
And we have those 12 new recruits that are coming in. They go through academy for 16 weeks. They also have to pass probation. And so everybody has to go through that process and pass all the tests and all the exams. And then we see how many firefighters we'll get from that academy, right? And so you might get 12, you might get half of that, or 8, so there might still be a little shortage depending on how many people actually go through, and then we'll have to do the process again.
Yeah, it takes about a year and 5 months to acquire one firefighter. That's how long the process is of the training. So we can't just next week hire because we're down so many firefighters. It's a huge planning process, hiring process, and then training process. And then once they're done, and we can say, oh, they're good to go. So serve back.
How far out do you go with the matters?
100 feet.
And force.
It depends on your angle, but I'm comfortable that it will hit the 7th floor.
So is there any way to prevent buildings that are higher than 7th floors?
That ship has sailed.
No.
No, there's not.
Thank you both. Jeff brought up a pretty good segue because our next guest is Ross Furman from City Planning Manager to talk about SB 1123, which is a new state law that allows up to 10 parcels, 10 units to be built on one parcel. And I'll hand it over to you. I'm going to pull up your presentation. Try to stand somewhere over there so the mic can.
Yep. Hey everyone, I recognize a handful of you. My name is Ross Furman. I'm the acting planning manager for the city planning division for the Santa Monica, and I'm here to talk about 2 new state laws. Some are not as new, but SB 684 and 1123. They largely are kind of components of each other. SB 684 is geared towards multi-unit zoned parcels, and 1123 is geared towards single-family zoned parcels. But they largely do the same thing by allowing up to 10 units for 10 parcels to be developed on one single parcel, depending on its size. So it doesn't mean you always get 10, but it will depend on the original parcel size. And the good part for Ocean Park, you guys tend to have smaller lots compared to other areas of the city. So I think it will very much limit the ability to even get close to 10. But we can slide. So I'm going to try to go really quick and maybe not go over all the details so I don't take over the whole meeting. But this is kind of the background of these state laws. I'm going to focus on SB 1123 as that's the most latest version, which is really what is kicking off a lot of this outreach. So in September of 2024, the governor signed SB 1123 and it became effective July 1 of 2025. In May of 2025, the city council directed staff to return with an ordinance that allowed ADUs or accessory dwelling units to be incorporated in these 1123 developments. So then on June 10th, planning staff, came to city council to adopt that direction. But then at that meeting, city council also gave direction to amend a handful of development standards to hopefully bring better feasibility to these projects. Construction is hard out there. Santa Monica has high land costs. So it was their way to try to make them a little bit more feasible as much as possible. So then on July 29th, we came with adopting that emergency interim zoning ordinance to then work. And then in August of that year, we passed an ROI to then work to codifying that emergency ordinance, those standards that gave a little bit more height, a little bit more FAR into the actual code. We started that process to codify it into the actual zoning ordinance in November of last year. We went to the planning commission, but ultimately planning commission continued the item in order for staff to do more outreach, more feasibility analysis. They originally continued it to December 17th. Staff needed more time. I needed to come to all of you. That 1 month that they gave us wasn't enough time to go to all the neighborhood groups. So ultimately, staff did originally continue it to January 21st. But just to kind of side note what's going on, some of you may or may not be aware, there is an item going to City Council tomorrow to reaffirm some of the council's approvals in the last couple months related to housing items. This is one of them. So depending on what happens at council tomorrow, whether they want to move forward or not with certain items, might impact some of what I'm going to be presenting tonight. But I do want to make clear that implementation of SB 1123 as state law requires is not up for debate. That is state law. We have to do it. A lot of what this outreach is doing is looking at the standards where the council went beyond state law in order to provide more project feasibility for these developments. So I just wanted to kind of make sure we can't say no to 1123, but the question is the modified standards. So next slide. So again, this is an overview of what the emergency interim ordinance did, which was ultimately the foundation that staff was taking to then adopt it into the actual zoning ordinance. So we were to allow ADUs, we were to exempt projects up to 5 units from the affordable housing production program. So that is our inclusionary program. It means that once you hit a certain amount of units, you have to provide an affordable unit on site. Providing an affordable unit on site makes these projects very difficult. So they allowed a little bit of an exemption there. And really, I think these 5 standards are where a lot of the concern is coming from, where we allowed for additional floor area ratio, but floor area ratio is ultimately how big a project can be. You take that number, in this case 1.5, you times it by the parcel size, and that's going to come to a square footage. That's how big the development can be. So this is an increase compared to what state law mandates. They allowed for more height. They allowed up to 3 stories or 33 feet in height. So typically in Ocean Park, we're around low 20s in a way. In the other R1 single family districts, we're around 28. So this is definitely an increase in height in order to get a 3rd floor. They reduced the front yard setback, eliminated any modulation standards for the upper story setback. So that's to kind of have movement in the upper floor. And they also eliminated some setbacks between ADUs and irregular units. So that's where we started with. So next slide. So I'm going very fast, but I won't answer any of your questions. So again, SB 1123 became effective on July 1 of last year. It builds off of what SB 684 began, which again, very similar. The 684 was geared towards multifamily, which for an Ocean Park, that would be the OP2 zone, or 1123 would apply to the OP1 zone, single family versus multifamily. And then it requires a project to approve or deny, it requires a jurisdiction to approve or deny a project within 60 days of approval. Next slide. I'll go even faster. Sorry. So there are some, this is kind of the eligibility requirements of where can an SB 1123 project occur. So on single family parcels, it does require the parcel to already be vacant. However, there's no date as to when that parcel has to have already been vacant. You can become vacant tomorrow, and then the next day, you're eligible for 1123. 684 doesn't require a vacancy. You can just add on extra units to already an existing development. It can't be larger than 1.5 acres. That typically doesn't happen in Santa Monica. We don't have those big parcels. And it does have to be surrounded by qualified urban uses, which is all of Santa Monica. Next slide. There are standard displacement protections, meaning you can't do a project on rent-controlled properties or a property that you would have to remove deed restricted affordable. That is a common theme amongst all of these state laws that have been happening regarding housing. There is still a focus, while there is a focus on more housing, there is still a big focus on protections of existing tenants. There's also some additional local location restrictions. I think the two that apply most to Santa Monica is it cannot be used in a very high fire and hazard severity zone. We adopted new fire maps earlier this year, last year. This really affects the most northern section of our city, kind of San Vicente north around there area. So that wouldn't necessarily affect Ocean Park. And it also potentially can't be in an earthquake fault zone unless a fault study is conducted, which again, I don't think there's any in Ocean Park area. Again, this is how do you determine how many parcels or units can be created on one single lot? As I mentioned, it kind of has to deal with what the original parcel size is, because each new parcel that gets created can't be less than 1,200 square feet. So if you only have a 2,400 square foot lot, you're only going to get 2 parcels. You can't get 5 because you're not meeting the new minimum parcel size. For SB 684, it is actually much smaller at 600 square feet. So there could be a little bit more potential there, especially the bulk of Ocean Park is OP2. There is also, we are allowed to apply our inclusionary ordinance, that's the HPP. However, that was council's direction to kind of provide some leeway there. And it does allow whether an ordinance to allow ADUs, which council did say yes to. Next slide. Ministerial review, meaning there's no discretionary action. It's all kind of approved by staff. There's no public hearings. We do default to kind of the underlining zoning district. So on those individual lots that get created, if you're OP1, you're only going to still just do 1 house for each of those new lots. But in reality, it's going to look like a multifamily development, even though those are individual lots. And I think the most applicable types of these subdivisions would be a fee simple ownership. So that would be like true subdivision of a lot, meaning you took 1 parcel and made it into 2, versus a common interest development, which would be more condominium development, which is, it's still 1 parcel, but we call them, you own your airspace. So it's like 1 development, but you own your individual unit. So these are, SB 1123 does impose some standards that the city has to allow. So we cannot require a lower height than what the zoning district does. Council went higher. So Lisa wasn't lower. We cannot require setbacks between units. So think of like townhomes in, suburbia where there's those 3-story townhomes. The corner unit might have the one non-shared wall, but a lot of them have those shared walls. That's really what the developments are meant to look like by having no setbacks between the units. We can only require a 4-foot rear and side setback. That is starting to be very common amongst a lot of these state laws. ADUs, for example, SB 9, if you might have heard of it, that was a few years ago, but still very much happening here. Cannot require parking within a half mile of high quality transit corridor. That is a good amount of the city. We have great public transportation, but therefore it limits us requiring parking. And it does set forth minimum FAR standards. So again, the size of the building depend on how many units you are proposing. However, council did go beyond that and gave more FAR to all projects. Slide. So again, the proposed amendments were largely codifying what the interim zoning ordinance did. So that was the more height, more FAR. That was kind of the foundation that council said, start with these and move to adopt them. And now that is what's taking us through the process. So that's ones I've mentioned before. Next slide. These are just a handful of additional amendments to the zoning ordinance that we needed to make in order to codify 1123. It's not anything different than state law is allowing. For example, it just states what the side yard setbacks would be, which is 4 feet, which just aligns with state law. These are not the ones that council provided direction on. Next slide. And this is a little bit of a compare and contrast. I apologize that this is a little bit more geared towards the R1 zoning district. I apologize, I did not update this for OP1, but it kind of shows you what a zoning district had for the city versus what 1123 kind of requires, and then where state law, council provided additional deviations to go beyond state law. Next slide. And this is kind of an example of, depending on parcel size, this is how many units that could be provided when using SB 1123. Because if you take 6,500 and you divide it by 1,200, you're going to get 5 parcels. So you can see you're not getting close to 10 unless you are a 10,000 square foot parcel, which are by no means common even in the city, let alone Ocean Park. But it's just to kind of show you how the kind of standards would work. And then these are what the FARs would do. These are square footages of your house, which would be the first and second floor added together. So you can see these two are state law. This one is council's. So council's increase significantly can increase the overall development size of the project. Slide. And this is just the proposed amendments that were recommended to council. So as the planning commission were asked for staff to kind of come out and do outreach to the neighborhood groups that could be affected by this. I'm doing the rounds to hopefully both educate you on this, as there are components that, again, are not exactly up for debate because it's state law, but to also kind of inform you where council has provided some direction to go beyond. Yeah, so I'm happy to hear your question.
I have two questions. Could you explain, I know the council voted 6-1 to go a little bit beyond 1123. Could you explain to us why they did that? What the reasoning was? And my second question is, this is a huge opportunity for mom and pop property owners, right? Along with single stair, along with mass timber. Can you explain to us what the city's doing to reach out to property owners to tell them this type of opportunity is available?
So your first question was, why did council do this, right? Why did they go beyond? Excuse me. Largely it was, they know that construction is very hard in general across the state right now. Even more hard in Santa Monica due with our very high land costs. And they know how hard it is even in our more single family neighborhoods. And this was a way to kind of, honestly, it was really the next evolution of a lot of decisions council has made since the adoption of the housing element to further find opportunities to provide housing choices in our highest opportunity areas, so our single family zones. And given both of those, they felt that it was necessary to provide some amount of flexibility beyond state law, that if a developer needed a little bit more height or a little bit more square footage, that we were going to provide them in order to remove barriers and make these projects hopefully more feasible. I will say to date, we have only received one SB 1123 application. It's over in our northeast neighbors area of the city on Stanford. They're proposing 8 units. They are not utilizing any of the emergency ordinance. They are just kind of complying with state law. But there is other interest. I think it just takes time to kind of develop everything. And your second question, I'm sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
What are you doing to reach out to property owners to tell them this is the opportunity in Santa Monica that we're open for business?
You know, I think we could, if I'm speaking candidly, I think we could do a little bit better job in that to kind of make you all aware of what is available on how to best utilize your parcel if you so choose to. You by no means have to. You can keep it as a single family home, and that is completely fine. I think we could do a little bit better job at advertising. That's a little why I'm here, even though council, depending on what happens at council tomorrow, might impact, you know, how this continues to move forward. At the very least, I hope you kind of leave this meeting knowing what, at its core, what 1123 and 684 allows, because that is here already. Yes.
So following up a little bit on what he said, I heard you say developer, I heard him say mom and pop. Is this really, is the Santa Monica City view, I mean, state is state, really about attracting more developers or empowering people? Yeah.
I would say there are different versions that have, over the last maybe 5 years, there's different state laws geared towards really our single family neighborhoods across the state. Some like SB 9 that you may or may not be know about, is definitely geared towards the mom and pop, you know, you are the current property owner, as they have owner occupancy requirements for the property owner. 1123, I think, is more geared towards new home ownership opportunities, not necessarily as much, you know, you own the parcel, therefore you're just the one that's developing it, given that it is required to be vacant. So I think it's a little bit different, I think both, but nonetheless, it is providing more housing opportunities, you know, in neighborhoods that are maybe in the state's mind underutilized by just being one house. That's for anyone else's fee, but that's the state's viewpoint at least.
And then specific to Ocean Park, since we have a historic landmark area, what's the intersectionality between those two?
There is not really provisions for historic districts in these state laws. It is allowed.
Anything goes.
It does. There are some limits if the parcel is landmarked.
Yeah.
And a lot of the state law, especially like I'm using ADUs as an example, ADU state law, which I think is what we are seeing a ton across the city, only acknowledges landmarks that are identified like in the state registry. They don't acknowledge like local ones, which is interesting choice, but it is state law. So that is kind of how it interplays. Yes, in the hat.
Thanks.
And then you, yeah. Sorry.
While I'm happy for us to be doing our part of the state problem, I am concerned about the look of the city. And would you agree that as the council has changed a lot of conditions because of the market conditions that you referred to, it may be a few years before we see what this really leads to about what finally gets built and how we feel about it. And then my smaller degree question is, I always liked step backs. That was my council. I always liked that. Yes. And I really winced seeing that. And what did we give up specifically on step backs? So the big picture question, and then that's small.
He's a former mayor.
Oh, then you know very well what I'm speaking about. Yes.
Judy and I are in that club.
Yes. So yes, I think any development takes time. Any of these new state laws take a minute for people to wrap their heads around them. Once they do, it takes a minute to go through the process. I mean, again, 1123 has been around since only July 1. We've had one application. It has been approved. They haven't even started the building permit process, which will probably take the better portion of a year. And then development happens. And, you know, I always tell them that you're the guinea pig of the city. You know, a lot of people want to kind of see what this is going to look like before they dabble in it themselves. Even SB9, which is kind of the first version, I think, of the more units in our single family neighborhoods, have been around since it's probably been 4 years at this point. And I think we have 10 applications. I think it just takes time to kind of have for any state law to run its course, and to see, does it work? Does it not? What needs to change? So yeah, it'll take some time.
And step backs, what was changed?
So step backs, I mean, so for those that don't know, step backs are essentially forced modulation, typically the second floor. It's to kind of make sure that we're not just getting boxes. It allows for a little movement. A lot of people think that it's actually a huge component of making a building not feel as big. If council's kind of direction goes forward, there would not be any required upper story step backs. So there'd be zero, essentially. I hope though there are just good architecture out there. Not that a box can't be great also, but you know, yes. Anyway.
Different hack.
Yeah, sorry.
It's too they hear the cutoff for how many units, but I'm concerned about where are all these cars going to be parked every night? On the already crowded streets.
The Waymo lot.
That's funny, but it's not funny.
It's not.
And also, I didn't hear anything about affordable.
Yeah, so there is no required.
So how is this addressing affordable?
You know, I'll be honest, it is not addressing it in the form of deed restricted affordable. What we like to say, and you can take this for what it's worth, it's kind of like the lowercase affordable, meaning by nature, smaller units are less expensive. I'm not saying they are not expensive still, but they might be a little bit less than, let's say, 1 unit and therefore achievable to get into a neighborhood. So there's no required affordability, and council even kind of chipped away at that a little bit as well. State law doesn't require it, but again, I think just by nature of the type of development, they are hopefully more affordable than, let's say, a single family house.
Requirements.
Yes, and parking. So state law does not permit us to require parking if you're within a half a mile of essentially major transit, which I believe is both, if not all
You
of.
said quarter mile.
I think it was half mile.
So anyway, that's like most of the city.
It is most of it.
So where are the cars going in?
So, hopefully this helps us push us into a car less or car not as much world. I hear you. I hear you. This is a concern we've heard across every neighborhood. We have very limited street parking. And if you're not providing any parking on site, well, the only place they're going to go is the street. Unfortunately, just the real answer is the city can't say you have to provide parking. The state has weighed in. There's even other state law. It was AB 2097 that happened, well, I want to say 2 years ago, that expanded it to not just housing uses, it's commercial uses. The state does not want parking to be a reason we're saying no, especially to housing, if you are located next to good transit. And it's a double-edged sword that we have great transit here, but it comes with kind of limitations on what the city can require. But I hear you. But ultimately, the answer is the street if the developer does not decide to provide parking on site. Yes.
I was under the impression that you can't demolish a house which have an approved building permit.
That is true only for multifamily. Yes, single family you can demolish without a replacement project.
Don't do it.
I know that was a lot. I'm here. I'll stay a little after, or by all means, contact me with any questions. That's just a reminder. We're going to City Council tomorrow to reconfirm whether they want to continue to move forward with a handful of housing items. This is one of them. So I don't know what is ultimately going to happen in the future, but I hope you at least leave this meeting understanding a little bit of what SB 1123 and 684 can provide you or will do to the city.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you, Rob. Our last speaker is here on Zoom, speakers, and it's Brittany and Graham from the Broad Stage. And I'll hand the TV over to them.
Hello, folks. How are you? This is Graham Fondrai coming to you from Santa Monica because I'm a resident here, which is really exciting. I'm the Director of Development at Broad Stage, which is located over at 11th and Santa Monica. For those of you who don't know the Performing Arts Center that we have right here in Santa Monica. And I'm going to go ahead and let my colleague Brittany introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Gash. I'm the marketing director with Broad Stage. It's Broad like Toad, in case you're wondering about the pronunciation. And yeah, we're really happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I reached out to a lot of the different associations when I moved to Santa Monica only about 5 months ago, believe it or not, from the East Coast. And the reason that I came out here to work with Broad Stage is because when I was approached with the opportunity, I said to myself, this is a unique performing arts center in the United States. And I'm lucky enough to have traveled around the United States and the world as a performer, but also as an administrator. And there was something really, really special about what we have right here in Santa Monica. And that compelled me to want to be here and take part in what we have. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we have going on over the next few months when it comes to programming and what we're all about. By a show of hands, how many people know Broad Stage already?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Because one thing that I ran into we're going to be very quick, by the way. One thing I ran into when I got here 5 months ago was that a lot of people don't know Broad Stage so well, which really surprised me. So I wanted to make sure that we got out there and we were talking to the community and letting them know that a world-class performing arts presenting organization, Broad Stage, is located right here in Santa Monica, producing or presenting over 30 events a year, including our upcoming International Jazz Festival, which will be in May. When Broad Stage programs, we put anything from theater, dance, comedy, of course, lots of music from classical to popular, anything you can imagine, we put on the stage right there at 11th and Santa Monica. And really what we are is we're a community service organization. We're a 501c3, we're a nonprofit, and we're here to help serve the Santa Monica and the West Side writ large. And luckily, because of the efforts that we have as a company, we're able to bring you some of the greatest performers in the world right here to Santa Monica. So Brittany, I know we're a little short on time. I want to be wary of that. Brittany, do you want to talk a little bit about our community engagement?
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what Graham said. We have a lot of art that we put on stage. We're very lucky to be able to tap into a plethora of great artists, but also we want to be the space, the organization. We want to amplify the city's creative energy. So we are really here to not only have a space where the city and our community can come and see wonderful art, but also a space where you can come before the show and also have an experience where you're hanging out, where you're having music, where there's more to just the performance. Having some food, having a conversation. Maybe before the show, sometimes we'll have like a dance lesson, or we'll have some crafting, or there will be a pre-show talk. So we really want to make a space where you can come and you can hang out, and there's more than just seeing the art. As well. And we also want to make space for people to engage in the art and to talk about the art and to have real reactions with the art. Another way in which we want to sort of amplify the city's creative energy is through our educational partnerships. So we are on the campus of Santa Monica College. And so oftentimes we'll work with Santa Monica College, with the faculty there to create opportunities for the students, for learning, for growth. We have some really wonderful artists, such as recently Stanley Clark, the jazz musician, come and be our artist in residence for 3 years now to really mentor and teach the students in a really deep, long-term way. In addition, we work with Santa Monica High School. We have partnerships with schools around LA County. We really want to make a space where there is sort of intergenerational interaction with the art happening also. So we want to create a space where not only you can come, but your kids can come, your grandkids can come, and really there's learning, there's interaction where our artists are also learning from the students. So there's this back and forth. So we really want to kind of really amplify that here. And then, of course, we're also really working to become a bigger part of our community. I think uh, I started in 4 years ago, 2022. So right when we were start to get back in the world after COVID. And of course, we had to spend some time figuring out and reframing who we were after COVID. And now we're really ready to be a bigger part of the community, which is why we're here, which is why Graham, is out trying to connect us with others because we also want to get out of our box and to come to you. And so we've been we're going to be part of Santa Monica's Locals Night on February 19th. So we'll be curating some jazz musicians to play at the pier that night. We continue to sponsor and support the Virginia Avenue Park's Juneteenth Festival. We walked in the 4th of July parade and hope to be doing that more every year. And of course, we'll have this festival, the Santa Monica International Jazz Festival in May. Again, something that's more interactive, something that allows us to bring not only top jazz musicians and artists, but also the students we work with, engage our local businesses to kind of come and join us, perhaps as vendors, to really reconnect and kind of expand. And I'm talking really quickly, and I feel like I'm missing a bunch of stuff, but I think that's sort of where we are.
No. Well, there's so much to say about Broad Stage all the time, and I appreciate Brittany has all the background with me being the new kid on the block. But I want you to know, as a director of development's about fundraising. But my point of being here is develop relationships, and I want a relationship with all of you all, and I want a relationship with Santa Monica at large. And so please know that our place, Broad Stage, is a third place for you. We can have an Ocean Park Association evening where we bring you in and we wine and dine you so you can come enjoy performance and enjoy our wonderful space. It is really about developing relationships and knowing that you have a home with Broad Stage as well. We included a little bit of information, by the way, I want you to know, in the chat right here. It's our website. But also there's another opportunity. Next week, we open, if you see right here on the screen, you'll see the Patrick Page show, All the Devils Are Here. A phenomenal show out of New York, theater show, exploring all of Shakespeare's villains and how they came to be. It opens up this Thursday. And we created a very special opportunity for Santa Monica businesses. And so in particular, there's a link there for you. We are giving tickets away up to 50 for $10 for this Friday. It's performance, which is at 7:30 p.m. At 6:30 p.m., we're going to have a business mixer. And we've already have a few businesses that have signed up with some of their people. $10 for the ticket. Great tickets all over the theater. Not a bad seat in the house, by the way. It also includes a couple drinks, a couple light bites, and a lot of networking. So the businesses can also come together. And this is, please, if you're an independent contractor, if you have a business, if you work in general, feel free to join us this Friday. We'd love to see you. The other thing I'd love to mention too, since I have your attention today, is that we also have something new we're doing called a business membership program. What we have noted is that in general, Road Stage has not been very connected to the community, and we're doing a lot of that work with individuals, but we haven't done a lot of that work with businesses. So with you all and anyone else in the community, we have now a neighborhood business membership program. So now you can become part of the Road Stage family through this program, which we can send you information on, and be a sponsor. You get tickets, you get benefits, we can throw special events for you, all sorts of things like that come along with being a business member, especially looking into the future as we grow and we do more and more out in the community and we're outbound. I hope that you all can hear from us today that there is something for everyone at Broad Stage, from the classical musician to the person who likes ranchera music, to great theater, to great dance. We do it all at Broad Stage, and we would love for you all to become part of our Broad Stage family, and we'd love to see you at the theater. If there's any of you out there that would like to meet with us at any point, me in particular, I don't want to volunteer you, Brittany, without your permission. I don't ever like having a empty calendar, so feel free to reach out. I'll put my email here in the chat. Feel free to reach out. I will meet any of you anytime for coffee or lunch. We could talk Broad Stage, we could talk Santa Monica, we could talk arts. I'd love to learn from you as well.
I'm always happy to chat, by the way. I am always happy to chat.
You guys don't often get a round of applause, so good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you all.
Bye-bye.
We'll be there.
We're going to transition into board business. If you have to go, please leave quietly. Want to kickstart by introducing or letting some new board members introduce themselves. I think we know most of them already, but as new board members, I want to formally let them say hello to everyone. So Andrew, first.
Hi, everybody. My name's Andrew. I moved to Santa Monica with my wife 3 years ago. We had a baby boy here last year. And so I think Ocean Park in Santa Monica is the best place in the world. We're really happy to be here. So,
Yes.
live next door to him. I don't know. No, I live down from Jeff, though. Yeah. So.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tess Nelson. I've also lived here for just about 3 years on Ashland and Third, and I've been working with some of you to plan events around the neighborhood, just with the goal of increasing connectedness and just neighborliness. And so this has been a really wonderful group as well to be a part of. And I thought I'd merge my interests and be a part of this organization now. So thanks for having me.
And Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary Birch. I've lived in Ocean Park since '99 on the over Jocelyn Park. And I also work at the thrift shop down Main Street at St. Matthew's. So.
Thank you.
We went to college together.
We did go to college together.
So did you graduate one? As it is a new calendar year, in addition to the new board members, we have to elect a new executive board. So quickly. As we all know, the executive board is comprised of president, one or two vice presidents, secretary, and treasurer in no particular order. We usually start with president and then VP, treasurer, and then secretary. Just to talk, make sure everyone understands what the rules are. President runs meetings, help is sort of like where's the Kevlar vest when people say why isn't OPA doing X or why is OPA doing Y? Helps organize speakers, helps herd all the cats, and a variety of other things, liaisons with the city for matters, and a bunch more. And there's no clear definition of VP roles in terms of set responsibilities. The executive team tends to sort of come together at the beginning of the year and figure out who does what and when and what components of everything that needs to get done does the president do versus VP versus other people. Any questions on that part? We're not taking nominations yet. Question?
Just out of curiosity, if the president's elected, do they choose to use a golf club instead of a vest? Somebody throws stuff.
Sure. If they're good enough at that.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments on executive board? Cool. You can self-nominate or other people can nominate you for something. Judy is really eager to nominate someone, I believe. I hope it's not me. Judy.
I nominate Sean Best to be chair.
I second.
I'm hoping there's another nomination. Jeff?
I'd like to nominate Robbie.
And I was second.
Second Robbie.
Is there anyone?
No offense.
No, I love it. Are there any other nominations of other people or self-nominations for president? Robbie, do you accept a nomination?
I do. Thank you guys for saying that. And Sean and I have had a conversation. I guess, is there anything you want to say first?
I'd like to decline the nomination. What you would say?
And just for context, Sean and I had a conversation last year about whether this was something I could take on. I had a lot on my plate. And so, I don't think I felt great about saying no to Sean. And so, I've enjoyed, getting to know you all and being part of this organization. I think we'd be happy to step up and try to kind of take the baton. I think Sean set a pretty good example here. So hopefully we can keep it rolling if that's what everyone decides, I guess. Yeah.
Abby, are there any parliamentary rules we need to be?
You can have everybody have nominations and then start voting, or you can just vote. But it has to only be the board.
Yep.
So if there's only one person who's nominated, we still have to vote.
Yep.
Have to take it.
And is it by affirmation or individual? It's individual. That's what I thought.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Are you indicating you prefer not to be president?
Correct.
Okay.
We're still gonna do the other.
My own personal position, I've done it now for 3 years. I'm happy to stay involved, super involved. I think Robbie has done a bang up job as VP and I would love to see him president.
You're still gonna do the newsletter?
I still plan to do the newsletter if I'm so chosen.
Yeah, you haven't gotten that further.
Yeah. Judy.
I wondered if you and Robbie could work together, not necessarily as co-presidents, but somehow work together because you know so much about being president and he's new to that. And
So A, I don't think run out the door. B, we haven't had a VP nomination yet.
Okay.
No, that's one thing.
Want to do that before we vote?
Sure, I'm open to whatever.
The nomination for a VP.
I do like that idea.
I did that already.
I'll let the room decide who got the nomination and who didn't. I would gladly accept the nomination.
So let's vote.
There can be more than one VP. Are there any other VP nominations? I'd like to throw out Tony's name for consideration if he's interested.
Yeah, if there's another, we can work together and
I just don't want to be able to then be not be able to do things, that's all. But I want to help out as much as I can.
But that's what it is too.
I think that was a yes.
Yeah.
But let's see if there's a second, first of all. Okay. Cool. Should we just do the whole slate then? Do we have a nomination for treasurer?
Oh, come on.
Dave, do you have anyone you'd like to nominate for treasurer?
Okay.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yeah.
Patty, would you accept a nomination for treasurer?
I guess so.
Great. Do we have any nominations for secretary?
John, I nominate Andrew Lee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Because he wants it.
Sure. I do. Get there in a second. Do you accept the nomination? I do. Right. Do we have any other nominations for secretary? All right, this should make for an easy election.
Is there anybody else that wants to take on a bigger role? Because I guess just from the last couple of years, I don't think there's really a downside to having more people that, for instance, if there was.
Actually, we're going by the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
The bylaws is one president, one or two vice presidents, a secretary, and the treasurer. That's the executive board.
Okay.
You can't put any more.
Okay.
Unless you change the bylaws, and that's a really mess.
Yeah, I was on the bylaws committee once. It was awful.
Well, then I guess like maybe unofficially, let me know if you'd like to be involved.
Sure. Yeah.
That's not probably.
Right.
Well, man, and say, I need to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
You just tell them,
I know that you would appreciate if we had somebody that was like focused on the technology, trying to make this transition of the site and the newsletter. Well, to make it better, right? That's what I'm saying. So anyway, okay, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, that's.
So it sounds like we have a slate. Slate is Robbie president, Tony and myself VP, Patty as treasurer, Andrew as secretary, and I'm going to go around the room taking
well,
votes.
maybe you should have,
Someone who's not running do that.
have someone who's not running.
Great. Judy, you want to do that or?
What am I?
Kelly, as secretary, is your last duty as secretary.
What do I do? Do say,
Call their name and ask for a yay or nay.
okay, so for president, Robbie Lear.
Who knows?
Voting for him.
Call the board members.
And what sales mean?
No, it can't have this.
I vote yes.
So just ask board members to vote yay or nay on the slate.
Amazing. Let's start with Dave.
Hey, you.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the slate is Robbie Lear for president.
Yes.
Sean Besser for vice president.
Is this like co-vice presidents?
Yes.
We can see the whole slate.
It's an election job.
It could be the whole slate at once.
Oh,
That's what you. Yes.
Get some of this.
Thank
you
you.
vote yes on the slate.
Yes,
Okay.
here we go. I vote yes on the slate.
I did already.
I also vote yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
about Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good answer. I also vote me.
Wait, does anyone vote no?
Lucy, did you vote yet?
I vote yes on the slate. No one voted no.
I vote yes. Is there anyone online? I saw Chris online earlier.
Hello, I vote yes.
Is there anyone, any other board members online?
Congratulations, guys.
Get up here.
Is this what you're doing? Oh, I mean, it's already causing problems.
You're in charge. Bobby, you're in charge.
Is there more to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Literally just like ripping the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
My first act as president, I'd like to thank Sean Besser for everything that he's done. And And then, hope that he stays involved. And yes, we have talked about that, Judy. I think, Sean continues, I don't know, do you want to talk to it on the newsletter and some of those things that you'll still,
Okay, we'll figure it out as an executive board. I absolutely plan to continue with the newsletter unless I'm kicked off. Figure out everything else from there.
Okay. So I'm using your iPad here to go through so it's committees. Patty, did you have a presentation today? Yes. Okay, should we start there?
Maybe we want.
Money left.
Okay.
Okay, Ken?
If you don't take too long, I know what you want to talk about.
We want to go, I'll be done in 3 minutes.
3 minutes is fine.
Okay. Well, so we do have our committees, but this is part of one of the committees. Like that's next on the agenda.
I know that Sean said he'd like the members to say something about what they're looking forward to.
Okay.
That which might be a thing to go by.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start there. Okay. Sean, would you like to start?
Yeah. So one of the things I'm hoping for 2026 is to help people actually do more. I feel everyone in this room is leaned in enough that you're here and you want to help get involved and improve the community. And whether it was me not, helping urge enough or something else, I feel we didn't have enough participation across the board last year. And that's something I'd like to see fostered a lot more. And that's volunteering at events, in addition to going to mixers and social hours and coming here, is figuring out how everyone in this room can get involved on a weekly, daily, whatever basis to help do things that they're passionate about, and then also help pull in more people to do stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to, this year, I think I did a little less than I had before, participating in events and so on. So I'd like to get that back to its previous level and continue to be on the housing, which I attended a couple of meetings.
Great. That's awesome. Right.
I guess I'm most interested in beefing up our involvement with Main Street. I know you do the parade and there's the Main Street Association and everything, but working at one of the stores down there, it's just like there's a disconnect. I feel like it can really help bring the community and the association and the stores together. There must be something to do. And also, how can we make it cleaner? It's disgusting. I can't hear. I said, how can we make Main Street cleaner? It's really disgusting down there. I don't know what we can do as an association, but
yep.
It's a mess.
And just so you know, if you didn't, Judy and Sean have been pretty involved with Main Street, and so talk to them if you want to get plugged in there. And then if you met Hunter, okay. So anyway, just a couple places to start, but I like it. Dave?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing forward with these cleanups with U of A. Again, Lacey is more helpful than anybody wants to round up people. It's a good chance for community involvement from the kids to the grandkids, the grandparents. I want to fire up the Lincoln Committee, where we have some kind of a portal where we can track what's needed, what's working, what's not working. Safety issue developments, anyway, or maybe get a handle that's happening in Lincoln football. And I'd like to see more music in Santa Monica. We do make music, and we have music on solstice. We have music in the parade. I'd like to see maybe some of the other parks have some kind of music days, maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Cool. As these ideas are being thrown out, if anybody else is particularly, moved, make sure you raise your hand or whatever that is. And none of these things can be done alone, right? Like that's what's awesome about the organization, bringing people together to get these things done. Lucy?
Well, I was working with you and
continue that and some of the Main Street thing. Since I'm a little older now, which we all love, but I just passed 80 years old, so I gotta just exist. Thank you. And the young man that was online, he like last year or the year before, he indicated about doing something with the arts, and it never came about. Something could surface with that. He had some ideas. That's Chris. Oh yeah, Chris. And yeah, try to work with other people on things. And with you, Robbie, that the groups we used to have. There was another category, and as a former teacher, something about the schools. I don't know where that's going on, with the middle school. So, I'd like to look into a lot of different things, and possibly help in some way, as much as I can.
That's great.
Thank you.
We'll keep moving, but we're always recruiting for next year's board. And I think it's awesome that, yeah, no, I mean, you've been you're almost here every month now. So, no, I was speaking, and I'm forgetting your name. I'm so sorry. Carmen.
Yeah.
So I was just throwing it out there that we're happy you're here. And if there's anything that you don't necessarily need to be on the board to take on, a committee role or, or have something you want to make better. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I love Carmen. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and very good at the arts. Okay, enough said. I just want to keep on keeping our treasury, and it's a lot of work really to keep up with all of this, and I don't mind doing it. With the treasury, the money that's coming in, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to work with the membership to try to make it easy for the 360, 70 people we have. You don't really need to try too hard because it's a small group compared to the 3,000 or whatever that you're working with. But we'll get into that more. I like being involved with what's going on. Sitting at a table, going to a mixer. Unfortunately, it's not been a very healthy year for me, so I'm hoping this coming year will make it well.
Great. All right.
Raising money and having bigger and more parties.
All right.
It's coming.
I get
the parade too.
Yeah. And same goes for you guys as to Carmen. We love that you're in the room and staying involved. So thanks, guys.
Back at the parade this year, 20 years. And this year's theme is going to be Route 66.
I didn't have to raise money.
We got to raise money this year. So if you have friends that have bands, I want to put more music out there.
And I also want to say it starts in March, getting the spray thing going. And it's a lot of work as we move towards it. And then when we're after it, there is at least a month, 2 months of taking care of cleaning it up. So this is not something that is just a small piece of time that's being done. It's a good commitment, and I want to thank Jeff for doing it.
And also the day of, we look for a lot of volunteers to step up, help out. A lot of moving parts in the parade. So if you want to help out in the morning before the parade starts or towards the end.
Good. Tony?
Yeah, just, I met with Sean a couple days ago for coffee. We talked about the new year, and I'm happy to take on the role as co-VP and do all I can to help with events and everything else that makes OPA what it should be and what it is. But also, like, as we were all talking about, like, different things we could do. I really do think that, like, we all have neighbors in the Ocean Park area. I talk to people like, oh my God, that sounds great. What is it? And I explain what OPA is and what we do. Like, I just talked to someone walking their dog twice, finding them. I didn't see them here today. They're like, oh, I'm going to go home right now and look up Google Ocean Park Association and find from there. Anyway, but like to reach out to our neighbors, to get volunteers for the parade starting in March, however, whatever needs to be done, to do the beach cleanup, to do Main Street cleanup, to do everything that we need to do, to plan more fun parties and events, and to come to those events. You know, we had a couple of good events last year. We had one in Ashland Hill, that was kind of a little turnout. We had a pretty decent one for the summer one at Lula, that was a good turnout. But we need to get more people involved, and I think, yeah, if we can swing it and do more happy hours and just more events at the Main Street restaurants, then we should be doing that. And at those meetings, ask people to get more involved in volunteering for things with community events and everything in between, all the stuff that we need to do. Yes, Dave.
This year we can have our first annual OPA barbecue.
Say it again.
Have an OPA barbecue. It's March.
Oh, barbecue, there you go. See, that's again, I also like, I also want to meet, at these meetings, getting part of the meeting, get more of our neighborhood to come to events and get more involved in OPA. So maybe they'll be board members in 2 years. The new members we have today, they all came to meetings and all of a sudden now want to be part of the board. And that's great. And so, this is my second year now as part of the board. I enjoy, I've been living in the neighborhood for 25 years. And anyway, I want to be more proactive and get others to be more proactive. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kelly?
I agree. I think that for me, it was like I came to OPA in like a state of desperation and not knowing what else to do. And it super helped me a lot. And I don't think a lot of people know about that. And so I think that just sort of being able to give people bite-sized information of like, this is the stuff that's available to you. This is how you get it. These are who you can talk to. Make it a little less intimidating. I went and talked in a city council meeting. I hated it so much. It's terrible. I hate public speaking. I don't even like this, to be honest. So yeah, I would like to be able to make it a little less intimidating so that more people feel like they can get involved in this, like understand why they should.
Cool.
Well, I'm so excited to be a part of the board this year, and my goals, I try to host about 1 to 2 events a month. That's what I've committed to starting last year, in my mind at least, and also then empowering others to host events. And it doesn't have to be large scale. Like if somebody hosted, which somebody did, a neighbor hosted a pie baking class at our house. There were about 10 of us. That's when real relationships can form, when you're in a smaller group. And so, and somebody else, Alexa, from this group, started hosting the book club. And that's now taken, I don't know if you know how many months it's been, like 8 maybe, or it's just going
intergenerational.
Yeah, intergeneration. I love that. I love any event where there's multiple generations. So we had a planning meeting a few months ago, and lots of people have ideas, but yes, it's very hard for them to take it and do the next step. So we'll have. So I'm hoping to continue that. And Andrew and I have talked a little bit about this at times, but thinking of more creative ways to patronize Main Street, just like pop-ups or locals night, like there's the fear of just, hey, this is where we're going to be tonight. That's, I don't know, maybe $5 off or $0, whatever, but this is where we'll be in case you were free that night. And it's just low stress. If one person comes, great. If 50 people come, and that would be appropriate, also wonderful. Since we live so close. Sometimes I'm embarrassed that I don't go to Jameson's ever. And I'm definitely interested in the arts and music pop-up ideas, or just more music around here. And probably this is another priority, is the awareness piece. For most of you that know, we put up signage about the social events, and that garnered so much interest. And my real dream is that there's somewhere, maybe outside this library, that if something can live, a sign can live year round about OPA. I just think that would be very useful. It seems like a vestige of communities past, that there are signs about certain clubs, like Rotary clubs, whatever, it's a part of the infrastructure. And now you just have to like sniff out, in my opinion, OPA. Like, I think you guys know I found it from a bumper sticker. Somebody, I don't know whose car that was. But of course, you could Google it if you're looking for it, but I think it could really be more obvious that there's this great resource that people could come and enjoy. So these are some of the things I've been thinking about.
That's awesome. So let's start. Andrew?
A couple things. So one, I did commit to Tess. I would organize some local community patronizing event, and I haven't done it yet. So that is on my personal to-do list. I think for this group, I have a few kind of goals. I think one is we should get really crisp as a leadership team on like what our goals are for the year, right? Is it growing membership? Is it, you know, the treasury function and like making sure we have more money so that we can do more events? Is it, you know, some awareness of that people have more awareness of this organization and things that we do, or the people that are already part of this organization and are dues paying members, they feel like they've like derived a lot of value from being a member of this organization. So I think if we can like end the year being like, hey, these were our goals, and you know, yes, no, we hit these, and you know, we think that we're doing well, that would be great. The other thing I would say is similar to Tessa's point about like how we show up and how people find us. Like I similarly do not know how I found out about OPA. Maybe it was because of Jeff and we lived in the same building. But I do think that, you know, these neighborhood organizations, like it's kind of like a whisper network, right? And if you've been here a while, like your neighbors know about it and they tell you and things like that. For newbies, you said you found it on a bumper sticker. I don't know how you found it.
One of the council members told me.
One of the council members told you. I have no idea. I don't remember how I found out about OPA. And so, you know, maybe helping us show up a little bit better in our both digital presence and physical presence so that people can find out about us. That would be great.
Awesome.
Okay. I want to continue to be to go to the Main Street board, which I have done that for maybe 10 years, something like that. But I'm very happy to do that, but I would very much welcome other people to be involved with Main Street. I think it's really important. So I don't want to hang on to it if other people want to get involved, because I think it's really important. I keep track of everything that goes on within the city council world, and I facilitate the OPA Connects every Wednesday. Very few of you ever go on OPA Connects, and they're almost every single week. And Sean is there many times. I hope you can come.
Sure.
It's a wonderful discussion of what is going on in the city. And usually if there's a council meeting on Tuesday night, a council member comes and explains what happened. So you don't have to watch until 2 a.m. to be aware of what's going on in the community. And I just want to welcome everybody. Sean always puts it in the newsletter on Mondays so that you can just click on it and be there at noon on Wednesdays. I also will go to all the events, and I love the beach cleanups, and you know, I'll do whatever I can to be helpful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So a lot of good ideas. And the way that we have organized, right, is these committees where somebody kind of says, okay, we're going to meet this time, this day. And then we've had on the agenda at least some kind of an update back to the group once a month. And so I'd encourage everyone to try to figure out a way to follow through on those things that you're putting out into the room today. And maybe if, you know, we get people that I guess we have our notes here. So maybe I'll follow up with a note and just say like, okay, how can I support in making this happen? And if it's actually through a committee, great. If it's through taking personal initiative, I think that's great too. I think as a group, we could do a lot of awesome things. So yeah.
So I'll be glad to step up and take over the Main Street Committee if you and Sean are willing to step back.
Great.
It's up to you guys.
Oh yeah, because I guess is our names like on it right now? Is that okay? Because Judy stays pretty plugged in with the
I'm
regular.
talking about something completely different.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Are you talking about the board?
No, I'm not coming on this board.
The OPA is Main Street Committee.
Yeah, we have a Main Street. So Sean, Robbie, and I were behind closing Main Street. We have a lot of experience. So I have not given up on Main Street. I have been really busy the last couple of months.
I think you should stay doing that.
Well, I am. So I have been working with the council and I have been working with the city about a couple things that I know Sean and Robbie are familiar with. They are pathways to money and they are pathways to community and wellness, right? This is really what this is about. So the first thing I will talk about is I went to the city knowing that they are opening negotiations with Golden Voice, with Budweiser and other organizations to sponsor events on the beach for the Olympics, World Cup, the Super Bowl, God knows what else. So I asked, and I got council support, to have city staff, when they negotiate these agreements, to put in money to improve the infrastructure of Ocean Park. So we're going to have at some point money, and I'm not sure how this flows because it's, you know, the negotiations have just begun, to be able to start to change the way, for instance, the park looks up against the beach from Pico down to Hollister, because that is really bright. We have a pagoda that's good for bad habits. The city's already thought about what to do. Now, I don't know how it'll be funded, but we all have an opportunity to say, this is what I want this area to look like. And this is not only about, you know, plants and pagodas and fences, but it's also about the infrastructure and mobility. I don't know how it is for you people, but I'm tired of seeing my neighbors getting hit by cars when they're walking to the beach. So those are the types of things that are available to us. So it's going to start relatively quickly. We have a good opportunity to try to improve, you know, our infrastructure at a time when the city's broke. So hopefully, you know, once I have a little more data, we can all start to talk about what we want to see. But I asked everybody in here, you know those blocks, what would you like to see there, right? You know, that chain link fence that separates the Upper Crescent Bay Park from Lower Crescent Bay Park, what you go there, right? Just a clip so you can push your kids off, or you want a really nice wall, or, you know, whatever you'd like to do is fine with me. So that's the first thing that happened. Second thing that happened is with the new city council and with the new city manager, parties are coming back to Santa Monica. You heard me just describe a few, right? There's going to be a 30,000, you know, person event, music event somewhere on the beach that's coming back. And what I want to do, and what I've already socialized with Sean, Robbie, and the council is, and the city manager, is to start closing Main Street to tie into those events. Now, what part of Main Street that is still in question, right? Just depend on what we want to do. I know people, and Sean and Robbie know them as well, that would pay us to lend our name, right, OPA, to these events, and we could raise a boatload of money. Because I'm talking, you know, if we do it the right way with any of these events, we could easily raise $10,000. And that's enough money to plow back into OPA to power wash sidewalks, better advertising for beach cleanups, you know, and whatever we as a group decide that we want to be able to do. So I will be, I'm going to talk to these two after the meeting about what the strategy is. But I think we need to get back in the habit of closing Main Street. Main Street is also a EZ designated zone sometimes. And we all know what the limitations are in terms of closing it. So that means we can have a freaking party, right? You can have Budweiser sponsor the thing and just, go crazy. Although I tend to think that's more of a neighborhood thing and for neighbors to be able to enjoy closed Main Street, right? Because after all, is our street. But those are the things that are possible. So that's what I'll be doing. First thing I'm going to try to do, Jeff, is get Main Street closed the entire day for the 4th of July. Because if we can get some of these vendors to come in after the parade, we can get them to pay us. It's just more money to fund the parade. The street's already closed, less obligation to the businesses, right? To be able to, help us. Now I'm sure you guys know, I talk to Hunter a lot, right? And I've got him to come to a couple of council meetings to help speak on our behalf when it came to the closures and the events and the easy designation and that sort of stuff. So that is where I'm at, and that's what I'm driving for, right? Closing the street, raising money, having bigger parties, getting money to fix the nasty stuff that exists, right? Since 1912. And I'm on that pathway. And I hope some of you will join me on this. Otherwise, I'll just do it by myself. So that's it.
I like those ideas. Does anyone have questions about that?
Well, John, if you could let us know when you're going to be doing, putting your energy into one thing or another, and we can help, even if you don't want to organize us, we can still be helpful.
Well, I know I'm counting on the help of a number of people in this room, whether big class or small.
We just need to know about it. That's all.
Yeah, and it gets, we know from experience that, it's when you work at the high level, it's relatively easy. It's when you have to start planning, and that's when things get a little more time consuming and a little more.
You had a question?
A couple of things for John to know about if there's going to be money for Ocean Park. At the base of Hollister, when you go to the bike path, there was a area there that we painted with blue and to make it look wavy, and that was a new plaza we created. We had a warranty for it, but when the city budget collapsed and we got rid of our beach staff, the people who knew that we had the warranty were let go. And now it's gone to shit and the pavement is falling apart there. And there's a few different things that have to be done before the Olympics down at the beach area that staff has known about, but we haven't had any money. And that's one of them, and I won't take everybody's time with a couple of other ones, John, but I want to let you know that we need to have a list for beach bike path in Ocean Park of things that just have to happen. And
I agree.
Engineers have known about parking lot issues for like 15 years and haven't been able to get it done, and we need to get it done. So just want to mention that. And then the other thing is for this gentleman who wanted us to have more community events where more people come out. Knowing that OPA is a nonpartisan organization, this is an election year, and if we have a mixer that we advertise to all of Ocean Park, where we simply say anybody who's running for office in November can come and meet people, no speeches, they don't get anything, except for this is a time where people from the neighborhood can come out and meet somebody who's running. I bet we'd get a good attendance there if we find the right place. Maybe the Victorian or someplace that has a lot of space. So thank you.
I never thought about that, but so it wouldn't be a political event, it would be someone who's running. Is that what you're
Anybody who's running who wants to come and meet people in Ocean Park at a mixer. It's just the theme of that night is, hey, meet people who are running for office in Santa Monica. But we're not giving them a campaign gift.
Yeah.
School board, college board, council.
Okay.
It's a meet and greet, and it's not in a meeting.
Correct. I mean, great.
And you just tell them you're not gonna stand on, on this platform and give a speech.
Understood.
Yeah.
It's something to think about, right? Because some of these organizations that recently have been under attack, the other neighborhood organizations that have been under attack, basically organized the single platform that was public facing for these city council members to present themselves, right? So if we OPA'd, the right forum, that could be a great thing to allow people to meet folks understand them. So opportunity for sure.
We do the League of Women, right? The League of Women Voters that can hold those events. So hopefully that, you'll be talking to the other neighborhood organizations to have one done that's run and managed by League of Women Voters, where we all get to submit questions and nobody has to have them.
Oh, okay, so there's something underway a little bit there, but.
Well, I'm saying, of course,
Yeah,
he's talking about something social.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wanted to say that I think OPA has a great reputation within the city. And I mean, in the city hall and out in the world. And that we need to make sure that we don't fall into being part of all the rest of the neighborhood organizations, which do not have good reputations. And that we need to be very careful to keep our reputation and our activities the way they have been. I don't know who's. The library is closed.
But when I came in, there was some people who were going to be cleaning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Lamb was here to give us flyers, but she left. On the 21st, Wednesday, the 21st, is an opening party from noon to 2. Because it is, well, there they are.
Yep, grab a flyer if you want one.
Ocean Park Library will be open with staff 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, for people to come in and use it like they used to. So that's when it's going. The other one, Ocean Park Boulevard will have the other 3 days. So
Fairview is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. We're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We're down to our last 8 minutes for the evening. So Patty, I think maybe the floor should be yours here. As you're getting ready to do your presentation, I'll just say, because I didn't really say some of my goals. I do think that this is pretty interesting how these other neighborhood organizations are being thought of versus how we have stayed in this neutral position, which I think is a great thing. And I would love to continue to further that. I do think that what Patty's going to talk about from a cash perspective, that's something that I'd like to also just, one thing that we have talked about is trying to get off this tech platform that's frankly too expensive. So driving down some of those costs. But part of that is making the tech work, right? The new site. And so that's probably priority one from my perspective. But anyway, I think there's a lot of good things that can happen this year.
Okay.
Patty, all you for 6 minutes.
So every single January, I do a treasury report for the general account. And I put every single thing that we spent and every single thing that we received into this. I have 6 minutes. So we do a quarter by quarter. The first quarter, we were down a little. We started off with $7,298. Now, in our savings account, we got 4,000, and I just don't talk about it because that's just in case of emergency. So the first quarter, we ended with $5,388. So that's not a whole lot of money. Let's go to the next quarter. So we started there, and oh my goodness, we got the neighborhood grant. We got a whole lot of other things that you can look through, and I can give each of you one of these if you want to just tell me. So all of a sudden, we now have $13,782 because this is what's going on. And we're going to the next quarter. Oh my goodness. We're starting to get serious amounts of money now.
thanks to what Sean has been doing with his different business memberships and with some other people just donating money to us. We have a platinum membership, which was what, $3,000. So now on the third quarter, we have $15,254. Now let's go to the last quarter. The last quarter was sort of just stayed the same, but we took in a lot of money and we spent a lot of money. We spent over we took in 5,300, we spent 5,000. So now literally we have $20,000 in our bank account, which is double what we started. Yeah.
Still a nonprofit.
So now what I do is I break it down so that you can see where it's coming from and what it's like. The breakdown of the membership accounts. You can see the different amounts that we're getting and what we got for the past 2 years. We have a breakdown with our expenses. So we took in $21,273 this year. Yeah, that is great.
Awesome.
Now, let's see what we spent. We spent only $13,049. So that gave us, and last one we had 21,000, and then we had 19,000. So now we're looking at being a little more careful with the money that we do have. And so you can take a look at what we spend the money on. We have 2679 in websites right now, and that's including wild apricot.
Is the high per thousand? That's
yeah
over 3 months.
I think it was we paid for the year.
Oh, is that
That was the annual.
So
Is the neighborhood annual grant expected to be recurring?
Anybody's guess?
No.
If or how much?
if it is, it will probably just come to us and be done. Because we're the C3s. But yeah, it won't be $7,000.
So I mean, if we subtract that, we really only broke even.
You saw what we started with.
Yeah, we're just saying that, like.
Yes.
But yeah, we know, and that's one thing.
We think we could make that happen, though.
We could, yes. She has a lot of very best.
I can make it happen.
We need to have insurance. The insurance did not go up in price this year. All of the neighborhood associations have insurance because we can get sued and we don't want to be. We're now spending quite a bit of money on our storage unit, $175 a month, but that's sort of like what is usually charged. Oh yeah, I put in the IRS filings, those are fine. And so then we just take a look at our refreshments, and we've spent about $1,000 to feed you over the course of the year. But when I remember some of the prices we were paying at different places, like $200, $300, $400 just for whatever, I think we're doing okay with the, and if you don't like what you're served, tell me, I'll try to change it.
So we are at time. What do we need to do from an action? Or you have one more thing that you wanted to highlight?
Well, no, I was just going through this.
Okay.
If anybody wants to have a copy of it, I can send it to you in the email. All you have to do is ask me because I don't have to scan it and just. But I just want to know that we are doing okay, and a lot of it has to do with what Sean has put together, and I thank him for that. Any questions?
Thanks, Patty.
Yeah.
And now we're going to this. It's not the
It's
sexiest work, but it's
balanced to
required.
this penny, and I do it by hand.
Okay, so we don't approve it.
You have to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, you can say you want to approve it.
okay. Can I suggest that we approve it next month? Is there any reason why?
No, there's no reason why
Okay.
you.
Just because that way, if you're looking at this for the first time, it's a little bit of an eye chart. Take a look, make sure you understand it. If we have questions, I know that's not normal, but I actually think that it would be worthwhile.
Should we do a pro forma for this year? Like a forecast?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, great idea. I like it.
Okay, well, this gives you an idea of everything that we use it for.
Right.
So you can see where you may want to take in or leave out.
And usually a week or so after this meeting, the exec board gets together to talk about the year. Let's
do that. Yeah,
among other
good
things.
idea.
We do a motion to accept it, not to approve it. And the same thing.
I move that we accept it.
Okay. I also like that idea. And all those in favor of accepting the budget or we got a couple people saying aye. Financial report, any nays? Okay, so it's been accepted. We'll vote to approve it next month. Patty, it was nothing against you. It was a matter of 4 minutes and I want everybody to feel.
You got more time than me?
All right, guys, I think we're down to the wire here. We have to go through the minutes.
Just need people to approve the minutes for November.
Okay, a vote on the minutes for November. All those that approve them, vote. Oh, we need a motion. We need a motion. I'm doing this horribly. Okay, we got Tony's got a motion. We got a second. All those that approve them. Anybody that does not? Okay, Andrew, did you mean to abstain or you're typing? Okay, sounds good. They're approved. Thank you, Kelly, for all your hard work. I guess there's one more comment. But you're the best. All right. And then I think we just adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second. Anyone did I make that? Okay. Have a good month, guys.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole. Get a draft. Somebody else said that.
Sean's gonna. Oh, really? Come in. All right. Yeah. First one.
You know, I don't even know.
City life, beach.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
What the other ones are running the power.
Yeah. You're tired.
No other.
So our block has Eve.
Yeah.
And Lucy and me and you. So our block is.
I wonder why. I wonder who's saying that. Now you're the one who sent me the first email. Do I have your email? Oh, you get that? Oh, okay. All right. I never know who's on that.
Yes.
Chairs were out when we started.
I drive.
Change. We used to get so
Yeah.
I did not see it.
That's good, you got it.
Usually, the government. And apparently you're not United here, so people will get